Winter Olympics winding down, only 4 days left of competition. But here on the early line on the SportsGrid Network, we like to keep you updated on a day-to-day basis what that medal count is nation by nation. Take a look at it from yesterday, Joe. Norway, 15 gold, 8 silver, 10 bronze. They lead the total medal count with 33, followed by Italy at 26, Team USA 24, Japan 22, and Germany 21. The leader in the silver category, it's the United States of America here. A few days left. A lot of competition still up in the air.
There is, Donnie, and if you were dabbling in any of the prediction markets here and total medals and total gold medals, obviously Norway, Donnie, was the favorite to get both the most gold and the most overall, and they're living up to that hype as the chalk. And we had said, wow, why are they such a big favorite? Well, I think they're showing us why they're such a big favorite to rack up all these golds.
Let's get to the championship rounds and the gold medal rounds. How do you do that, Joe? You got to win some of these knockout games, get to the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and continue to advance. Hughes scored a goal yesterday. It was in overtime. Let's hear from him.
Hell of a game out there. Yeah. You took down the game winner. I mean, what did that feel like?
Yeah, just a relief. Just really enjoying being here with this group and the guys, and trying to extend it as long as I can.
Right on. And then USA flags all over the place. You could hear the chants. Yeah. What's that atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's special. I mean, I love the U.S. and it's the greatest country in the world. So happy to represent it here with these guys, and it's really special.
Nice. Last one. What are you taking from tonight into Slovakia?
I don't know. I think you just want to move on and be ready to go and get your feet up the next 24 hours and then be ready to go.
Right on, man. Thank you.
Can you tell us what you saw in that final play?
I mean, just tried to create some space for myself and, was able to get it to my forehand and get a shot off.
Okay, thank you.
When the definition of like a skilled athlete, like in hockey, like understand like there's other sports like football, you have great skills, and NBA, great skills, great athletes. But to be able to do this on ice while you're skating, just watch that overtime goal and figure out yourself like, ooh, I think I could have been an NHL player when I was a kid. No, you can't, Joe. My goodness, man.
Yeah, and Donnie, I mean, the way he did it, and again, these guys, I noticed it in the Canada overtime game as well. I mean, these guys were sucking wind in overtime, make a sweat. Like, these guys were huffing and puffing, and they tried to get him off that ice. And he refused to get off the ice, and a couple of minutes later, or a couple of seconds later, actually, is when he ends up scoring it. How are you skating to the left, and then you fire that shot all the way to the right? Was just unbelievable. It was the thing of beauty, and it's why Team USA is moving on.
How about this sport breakdown from 1994 to 2022 at the Winter Olympics? The percentages of gold medals won per country here. Look at the luge and the bobsled. Germany, 72% of the gold medals since 1994 in the luge went to Germany. In the bobsled, 56% went to Germany. Domination up top there.
You think? No, I don't know what's going on with the bobsled there, but apparently they've got their finger on the pulse on how to go ahead and just take down gold medals. That's kind of crazy, but hey, listen, you come to expect it in the Winter Olympics. I didn't expect Italy to rack up as many medals as they've racked up here either this year.
And by the way, I thought like AI runs rampant across like social media. You don't know what to believe or not believe. And it's like, oh, look, there's a dog running across the finish line with a couple cross-country skiers. Like, of course, that's AI. No, it isn't. And it wasn't just any dog. It's like a wolf dog out there that got loose and just decided to finish the race along with the people. A nice little spot here for the Winter Olympics, Joe.
Yeah, dog gets out. It's like, oh, you want to race? All right, we can race. Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. The video and the pictures of it are actually pretty funny. There's it cruising, because it's certainly not something you expected to see, Donnie. If you were watching that, you're like, wait a minute, what is that? Who is that? What country was the dog in, Donnie? I'm sure.
A wolf dog got loose out there. Somebody just brought their dog to the competition, wanted to have a little bit of fun. That's what it turns out to be. How about this news to note here? Mikaela Shiffrin, which went a long time with winning gold medals, is now the youngest and also oldest American ever to win a gold in the slalom. 18 when she was young, 30 when, I guess 30 is old now, apparently.
Well, in that, apparently it is there. But talk about full circle, right? I mean, my goodness. Way to end it there. If this is her last one, right? Well, you go out on top, and that's the way that you do it.
What happened to Team USA here in snowboarding? Japan wins most golds 4 and total medals 9, all in big air, half pipe, and slope style. No U.S. snowboarder golds for the first time since Nagano in 1998. Isn't this? Didn't we create this sport? Why aren't we dominating this, Joe?
Again, some shady, and I mean shady judging going on here.
Oh, Winter Olympics hockey has been really good. Did you watch yesterday? 4 games. 3 of those games at the Olympics went to overtime with countries hanging on the edge here. I'm Donnie Wrightside along with Joe Ranieri. Let's bring in Troy Perowitz. We got to talk some hockey, Troy. It's been sensational, just the way we anticipated.
I can't even, what a day for hockey, right? It was peak hockey moment. I think we'll always look back at February 18th and remember where we were when we were watching those 4 games. 3 of them, like you said, went to overtime. Just an incredible day for the sport.
It was so much fun, Troy. And the funny part about it is, depending on like what nation you live in, right? Like Team USA, it's like, we want to play Canada in the final. Canada's like, we want to play US in the final. Then Canada's down. You're like, oh, good, I hope they lose, but you don't want them to lose. And then Canada's like, oh, I hope the U.S. loses, but we don't want them to lose. But you saw it yesterday. Just as watching this game in the middle of the afternoon, Team USA playing great defense. Hellebuck was fantastic in goal. And then it happened with about a minute to go. Sweden scores like, oh, no, Troy. They're going to get them in overtime here. But my goodness, Quinn Hughes, a sensational 3-on-3 overtime goal, pushes Team USA through against Sweden. What did you think about that game, Troy?
So Donnie, let me tell you a quick story first. I went on my honeymoon last summer. I went to Greece on my honeymoon.
Yep.
For anyone who knows Greece, very dry country. There's not a lot of water, let alone ice. But I step into a cab in Greece and get to talking to the cab driver, ask what you do for a living, tell him that I work at the NHL, and he's like, oh, the Kachuk brothers, Canada and the US, they from the 4 nations, they know the rivalry. I think they wanted it too. And yes, it's exactly what went through my mind. I was watching those games yesterday is, we've been talking about this rivalry for the last year since the 4 nations, and they met in the championship game, and Canada, won in overtime on a Connor McDavid goal. We've been talking about this rivalry for a year. It would be so disappointing not to see them meet again in the gold medal game. But there's always a part of me that, the cream's going to rise to the top. These are clearly the 2 best teams in the tournament. It's not that close. I'm not saying that either of them can't lose in the semifinals, but it's the 2 superpowers in the world. I think everybody wants to see them face off in the outside of Finland and Slovakia today. I think everybody wants to see Canada and the United States face off against each other on that Sunday morning gold medal game.
All right, so be honest now. Have Maple Leafs forgiven Mitch Marner now after yesterday? Did he rewrite his narrative and his legacy here yesterday?
Big game Mitch. He scored a huge game for Canada against Sweden in the 4 Nations tournament, and he won it in overtime. He's scored a couple of huge goals for the Maple Leafs before going to the Golden Knights this offseason. Yeah, I think it's time to forgive Mitch Marner. I think he's a really big game player. I think the moniker on him has been totally unearned. He's a really strong player, and he's playing. His line mate Sidney Crosby went out with an injury, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I think Mitch Marner is a huge player for the Canadians coming down the stretch here as we get into the semifinals, because he plays with Mark Stone, who's his teammate with the Vegas Golden Knights, and plays a really crucial role. He could be on that second power play unit and be a secondary scorer, especially if Canada loads up with Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, and Macklin Celebrini on that first line.
And by the way, Troy, too, these kids growing up here always want to put on that jersey. The Maple Leaf there for Canada and Team USA, the USA across the stripes. It wasn't even fluke goals. They were sensational overtime goals in each respect there. Breakaway, top shelf here. Another one ripped off the post into the back of the net. They were so much fun to watch, which then leads us to even more hockey. The men take a day off here, at least, as we take a look at Finland, Canada, and Slovakia in the United States on Friday. Let's start Finland and Canada, Troy. Heavy favorite, rightfully so, for Canada. Sidney Crosby also diagnosed with an injury. Not sure when it's going to appear. Talk about Sidney Crosby's injury and also Finland and Canada for you.
Yeah, so here's the thing with Crosby's injury. If he doesn't play, I know a lot of fans are going to want Canada So Canada's loaded up before with this top line of Celebrini, McDavid, and McKinnon, who, by the way, are 1, 2, and 4 in points in the NHL this season. I don't think they could do that without Sidney Crosby being there in the lineup. It creates too much of a hole in their third line center position. If they do that, I think they probably want to keep a little bit balanced. And obviously, if the situation arises, they're down by a goal late in the game, I think you could always press that nuclear button option and get those 3 players on the ice. But without Crosby, you're going to ask either Bo Horvat or Joe, your boy Sam Bennett could come off the schneid and fill in there too. I think Canada, look, they're going to be fine in terms of is the talent level. Getting through the neutral zone might be a little bit tougher without a puck possessor like Crosby and himself, but Canada should be fine. They're going to be heavy favorite, like that you just showed the graphic. They're huge favorites against Finland, and they should be. They have so much more talent than the Finns do. Finland, give them respect. They won the gold medal, and the last time they were Olympics played, but they weren't NHL players in that tournament. There are NHL players now. I expect Canada. I think, when you have a tough situation like they were losing the entire game against Czechia and most of that third period as well. And you kind of galvanize yourselves and have a huge emotional win like that. It could always galvanize you and group you together. And I think Canada comes back with their best effort against Finland because they're hungry for a game against the United States just as much as we are.
Looks like Team USA going to have to bring the same defensive mindset here with Slovakia scoring how many goals against Germany. I thought they were a little conservative there in that third period. What do they got to do here?
I think that's kind of the play style. That's if there's one team that could win a 1-0 game in this tournament, it's definitely the United States. They have a strong goaltender in Connor Hellebuck. That you mentioned Quinn Hughes, but Jake Sanderson, Zach Werenski, these are elite defensemen in the NHL. They're great players. I think they're built to win low-scoring games, and they could do that. They're going to have to do that against the Canadians if that's the matchup in the gold medal game. So might as well start it now.
Troy, we take a look today. We do have an appetizer on deck. Women's ice hockey gold medal game. Team USA taking on Team Canada. 1:10 start. The U.S. heavily favored. Did the U.S. Team USA knock off Canada today, or do we see an upset at the Olympics?
I like the Americans here. They played a couple days ago, and America won that game 5-0. Canada was missing one of their best players in Poulin, who's a really elite player in the PWHL. But I think the Americans, they haven't given up a goal in 6 games. I think they take it home and win the gold.
Troy Perowitz talking hockey with us on the early line. That's a gold medal. Thanks, Troy. We'll be back right after this break. It's a Thursday right now. It's the primetime slot in the morning, as we like to call it. Why? Because the fun is just about to begin. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Ranieri. And here we go. It's Cam Stewart live. Even if we're going to call him Troy Perowitz, it doesn't matter. That's Cam Stewart. That's who I'm going with here. Let's go, Cam.
Hey, Donnie, what's happening? Joe, always a pleasure seeing you guys. And yeah, what do you got? Olympic hockey fever? All these teams, 3 out of the 4 going to overtime? Going to stress out your fan bases, that's for sure. Canada overtime, and then Finland comes back, and even the USA, Hellebuck with a late goal, and they beat Sweden in overtime. The favorites getting it done. But if you're betting these puck lines, guys, you're making a hell of a lot of money with these underdogs. But we have ladies hockey today. As we mentioned, guys, at the start a couple weeks ago, we already have tickets on the United States. And as Prime Minister, I have to be fair in my negotiations with NAFTA, with Mexico, Canada, and the United States. I would take the United States women, guys, laying a puck and a half against Canada right now. They're just simply better. Watching all of their games, they're just faster. They're unreal. Like that game against Sweden, don't let the final score fool you. If it wasn't for Sweden's goalie, who they shouldn't have pulled, the goalie was standing on her head. Like it could have been like 12-0. Canada had a little bit of problems with Switzerland. They ran into a hot goalie. So, guys, that total is kind of interesting because I think America might win 5-1, 5-2, but they don't give up goals. You've seen how good this American defense and goaltending is. They're absolutely dominating teams right now. So I don't know if it's a parlay piece, but Team USA women, I think will get it done and probably win by at least 2 goals against Canada. I have a lean to the over, but it's pretty tough because the goaltending on both sides is pretty good.
Could be an appetizer, Cam, to what we get on Sunday morning. Cam, we're not going to talk to you again before Sunday, but Finland, Canada tomorrow morning, and then Slovakia, USA. Do we get the cup final that we want to see in the Olympics here? All right.
We do. Slovakia's been amazing, guys, but I think the USA takes care of business. That line is way out of whack, and Finland will give Canada problems, but that's what the networks wants. That's what we want. Hockey fans want. Canada versus USA on Sunday. A lot of fun. If you want to do a super parlay, USA women, Canada men, USA men, that one's about $1.35, $1.40. You're going to have to lay some juice, but these puck lines are nuts.
Cash it in with Cam Stewart. Thanks for rising and grinding this with us on a Thursday, Tim. We'll talk to you next week here for Joe and Donnie. We're going to close it down in style next.